Welcome back to Hexus. We're at CES 2013. We've managed to find some time with Simon Segars, who's the president of ARM. Welcome to Hexus.
Thank you.
Simon, ARM's an interesting story. We've been talking to you guys for a long time and finding out you're in every single device all over the place, or most of them. You've had a busy year last year with the launch of Windows RT as well as a ton of other partner products. How did it go internally from your side?
Well, as you say, we had a very busy year. Everyone's been very focused on product development, working closely with our customers, making sure we deliver what we said we were going to do when we said we were going to do it. So it has been a very busy year, and it's been great to see some of the end products that have come out from that. You mentioned Windows RT, the Google Chromebook was another great product, the Nexus 10 tablet. You know, there have been some great products that have come out utilising the technology we've been working on internally for so long, which is really motivating for our internal staff, you know, seeing their work come to fruition in end products.
Talking about Windows RT, we've had a play around with it, and we've put several devices there. A little bit, not disappointed, but wanting a more mature end-user solution. You know, have you had much hands-on time with it yourself?
Yeah, when the products got launched, we got a whole bunch of them internally, and a number of us have been playing around and using it more and more as our everyday device. I have one of the Asus machines, which I really like. I like the combination of keyboard and detachable tablet. You've got that mix and match kind of freedom there. So I like it as a day-to-day machine. Very light for carrying around an event like this. It's great.
So have you moved over to it on your corporate machine now, or are you still using your old legacy notebook?
Bit of both. I mean, I've got lots of computers for use at work, as you can imagine, but increasingly using the RT machine. Okay.
When do you think that you'll be able to make that transition fully? Is that an internal ecosystem thing? Is that a personal preference? What, you know?
Personal preference, support of some of our IT infrastructure, you know, needs to move along. So, you know, we're doing that. We're using, you know, we want to use ARM-powered machines as much as we can internally. So, you know, we're definitely trying to lead that way.
Okay. Moving on, a bit of blue sky conversation. You know, ARM's obviously had a great run up recently. There's been loads of tablets out there. Most gifted present last year at Christmas.
Right.
Where do you see the market being? Not in a couple of years, you know, in 10, 15 years. What is the plan for ARM actually, you know, long term?
Well, I mean, our business model is about developing technology and licensing it and working with our partners to try and get the architecture deployed in as many things as we possibly can. The great thing about smartphones, about tablets, is they're fast growing markets, and we expect over the long term, you know, our market share to remain very high. And for those markets to grow strongly. So, you know, we expect to continue to see that kind of explosion of usage.
What do you think the next big thing is, though? You know, obviously everyone's got about 10 tablets probably each or something crazy, you know, that massive adoption. You know, some of us on our second or third generation one quite easily now. What is the next big thing?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, many people have many tablets. I mean, I was recently on vacation, and between my family of 5, we actually took 7 tablets with us away, as well as 5 cameras. It was felt a little bit crazy. But you know, remember that's you know, I'm not representative of all consumers. We're talking about the West here. There's a huge proportion of the world who don't have multiple tablets in their homes. There's huge potential for that market to grow. I mean, more generally, where ARM technology can go is in, you know, what we call the Internet of Things. Lots of focus goes on in ARM and around ARM about the high-end apps processors, quad cores. We've seen 8 cores today from Samsung. But we also have a lot of work going on microcontrollers that sell for, you know, very small amount of money, you know, 50 cents in some cases, and they're going to get embedded into, you know, pretty much anything that can benefit from an internet connection. Once you've got that, you've got lots of data being generated. That needs to be transported into the cloud infrastructure, and every step along the way needs low power, whether it's in the network connectivity, the server that's analysing the data and producing information. All of that can benefit from low power, and all of those features that make ARM great for mobile can be applied in all those other cases.
Whilst ARM don't actually make any physical product, it's all IP, you have got competitors who are both, I guess, foreign and domestic. So you've got your customers who are battling against each other all the time, and then you've also got, you know, Intel and stuff trying to come into the smartphone and tablet space with trying to drive down the power envelope on their side. What other threats and how are ARM going to manage this in the next few years?
Well, we fundamentally believe that the competition is a good thing, and the more people who can do it, the better, really, because you'll get differentiated end products. So I think one of the really powerful things about the ARM business model is it has lowered the cost of putting a CPU into some device, whether it's an embedded microcontroller in your dishwasher or a tablet or a phone. By lowering that cost, more people can do it. As a result, you get greater differentiation in the chips, greater differentiation in the end products. So that competition is good. We're not in the market of kind of picking winners, and we really want our customers to thrive, to bring their own IP, their own innovation around our common architecture, to make sure those end products are diverse and consumers ultimately have choice.
You know, with the Internet of Things, how long do you reckon it'll be till we got a fully connected home? You know, when you go to John Lewis and go and buy a dishwasher now, it isn't internet connected already. When do you reckon we will see that tipping point happen?
I think it's going to be a few years off. I mean, replacement cycles for white goods isn't as fast as consumer electronics. So that is one thing that slows it down. But there's also a big piece of technology to solve around security, around standards that are going to allow your dishwasher, your TV, maybe the scales in your bathroom that you weigh yourself on every day and it gets fed back to your healthcare provider. All of those things coming together need to go through some kind of aggregation point. And there's a lot of standard work that has to happen to make that seamless and easy for the consumer to do. So, many of us here, many of the people here at CES are up for the challenge of putting that all together themselves, but to truly kind of domesticate that technology is going to require a lot of work on just making it plug and play and easy. So I think that's going to take a little while.
I think with the connected home is a pipe dream for geeks, right? We all want to have everything connected to something. But actually, long term, I think it's going to be beneficial for the elderly. Everyone's getting older, retirement age, and people are living for longer.
Yep.
And actually, people being able to stay in their homes for longer and actually have the medical assistance there.
Yep.
There's a massive advantage to that.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any specific projects that ARM's working on that you can talk about that you're aware of that there's movement in that at all?
Well, we are looking at this. I mean, certainly I live here in the US where the cost of healthcare provision is a big deal, and so there's a lot of pressure to try and lower that. As you say, the population's getting older, and so more data that can be collected at home to prevent people going to see their doctors is a good thing for lowering that cost. So there's a number of activities going on that we're getting involved in and taking part in. Nothing announced right now, but it's a very interesting space, and it's one where we see there's a contribution we can make to that in providing the endpoint technology, the aggregation point. We've done a lot of work on security over the years, securing that data so that it can be, this dream can be delivered. I think is an area where ARM can contribute.
Speaking about the end user solution, if you talk about an iPad or a Samsung Galaxy or any of those devices, people don't seem to care necessarily. Take the geeks out of it. People don't seem to care about anything apart from the screen, the connectivity, and the battery life. They don't go, oh, I'm going to go and buy something with this chip in it, or a Tegra chip, or an Apple A6, or whatever.
Yeah.
How are you going to make it so ARM is relevant, or people actually go out and go, actually, I'm going to buy that one because it's got ARM technology inside there, or is that not a focus? What is the plan in regards to trying to build the ARM brand up?
Well, I actually think from a consumer's point of view, they shouldn't really be picking their product based on, well, this got this thing deep inside, because, frankly, most consumers aren't going to understand that in detail because they don't have technology degrees. So, and frankly, why should they have to worry about that? They should be picking a product based on this one's thin and light and the battery lasts a long time and I have a great user experience. So, we're really focused on enabling that much more than it might satisfy our egos to have ARM stamped on the front and have consumers going in saying, yeah, I want the ARM one because it's better. But that's really not where we're spending a lot of time focusing. We're worrying about the underlying electronics and making sure that it can deliver the great consumer experience. And if we get that right, then that should be the thing that people want to go and buy.
So talking about, obviously ARM's got Mali and some of your partners have their own graphics cards. How do you manage to compete against customers who on one side are eating from the plate, on the other side actually trying to compete against you? How does that really work on relationship and business?
Well, we don't see our customers competing against us, around graphics. So, I mean, we have many of our customers who are using ARM plus Mali. We have customers using ARM plus Mali, and in some other designs, ARM plus other graphic solutions. Again, it's about making sure we've got the best technology, and our customers have got choice for how they put their chips together. And if somebody else has got a better solution, then we haven't done our job properly. And we then go back to the drawing board and make sure our product is better.
What's the development cycle? How far ahead in the future are you guys currently working?
Well, really many years out. If you take Cortex A15, that's starting to come out into products now. That's something that's been in development for many years. We go through a development phase. Our customers, we will then deliver that to our customers. They build their chips. There's a whole lot of testing that goes on along the way. Eventually, it ends up in a consumer product. So you can be looking at a 5-year time period between the work we're doing and actually seeing something in the stores that you can go and buy.
Okay, so since we're talking about 5 years in the future, potentially, we see ARM in smartphones, we see them in tablets, we see them in hybrids. When will we see them in more powerful notebooks, stroke desktops, stroke other environments?
Well, I think that will be a continuation of where we are today. In October last year, we launched our first 64-bit products based on version 8 of the architecture. Version 8 adds 64 to our 32-bit underlying architecture. That's going to provide more performance, going to provide greater scalability of the architecture to deliver more and more performance. So, I think it's really just a matter of time before more conventional style computers are using ARM technology, because the performance is there.
Okay. And on the manufacturing side of things, obviously you guys have relationships with fabs. Yep. You don't necessarily you don't manufacture anything yourself. You license the IP. Obviously, Intel being a massive competitor, one of the advantages they've got is they've got their own fabs and they're investing in advanced manufacturing technologies. Mm-hmm. How do you guys work with people like TSMC and Global Foundries in order to help with the manufacturing? Because these things aren't simple to put together, right?
They're absolutely not simple to put together, and that's one of the reasons we have been working so closely with those companies for so long now. ARM got into what we call our physical IP business back in the end of 2004, and part of that was about getting much closer to the manufacturing side of it, because building a chip on an advanced process is a non-trivial exercise. So we work very closely with those companies. We get very early access to their process rules before they're finalized, so that we can do experimentation together on what's the next generation of ARM processor going to perform like on the next generation of their process. So we're doing early work now, have been doing it for a while on FinFET technology, so that we can make sure our processors and their process is tuned to give the best result at the end of the day.
Okay. So it's a constant investment and R&D cycle with these guys as well?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's the sensible part of things covered. So now what we need to do is ask you some highly nonsensical questions. So, or more personal stuff. So, what is your favourite device at the moment? What's the latest device that you've personally gone and paid for that you've been pleased with?
I really like the Asus machine. As I said, I think there's a real productivity gain of keyboard and touch and swipe and everything. I bought my wife a Surface for Christmas. I think that's got a really nice kind of build feel to it. Other devices I like. What else have I had recently? I'm a bit of a camera geek, so I'm always looking at the next generation of cameras, and I want to go and have a wander around to see what's been launched this week to plan my next spend there.
What cell phone do you use?
I've got an iPhone at the moment.
Okay. And how do you find that? Obviously you've got the Windows 8 environment, you've got the iPhone environment. How are you finding, running across different ecosystems with that?
That's been very smooth. All our email goes back to an Exchange infrastructure, which does a great job of synchronizing across devices.
Okay. And what technology would you really like to see launched this year? Doesn't necessarily have to actually happen. If you could have any product, what would it be?
Ooh, that is a good question. I'd like to see more of this technology in cars. I think I find it incredibly frustrating at times that I can look up what the traffic's going to be like on my way home every night, but by the time I get there, the conditions have changed. Now, if through the deployment of the Internet of Things, the satellite navigation system in my car got reprogrammed on the fly to say, you know what, an accident's happened, so you really want to turn off here, that would be great. I think bringing that intelligence, that anticipating what you're going to do, and providing you the data back so that you can make a decision on the fly. That would be a great thing to have.
I think that's more likely to happen in the US than the UK for now, because it seems that services launch in the US, and then about 6 months later we catch up over in the UK. So that's probably one reason to relocate.
Well, I live in Palo Alto, so hopefully I'll get benefit from that.
There you go. So there you have it, some insight from Simon, President of ARM. Stay tuned to Hexus for more from CES 2013.